Well, breaking news out of San Diego as reportedly the Padres and Fernando Tatis Jr. are in agreement on a 14-year, $340 million contract extension. Let's head to Twitter to see what this news had to say as it's unfolding from Robert Burry. Fernando Tatis Jr. and the San Diego Padres are in agreement on a 14-year, $340 million contract extension, according to sources familiar with the deal. Now, our own Mark Feinsand has a bit more information on this one. So we have the 14-year contract extension, which will begin this season in 2021. He does get a full no-trade clause, a signing bonus north of $10 million, and there's no money deferred in the deal per the source. Now Tatis Jr. becomes the second MVP sports client to land a $300 million plus deal, joining his teammate and mentor, Manny Machado. Now, speaking of mentors, let's bring in one of our own, and Harold Reynolds, coming to his house, or coming to us from his home in New Jersey. Thank you so much. I know you're eating dinner, HR, but we appreciate you taking the time to discuss this deal. Now, what are your initial thoughts on this historic contract extension?
Well, it's an amazing number. You don't turn that down. To quote the great Torrey Hunter, I don't turn anything down but my collar. You know, when you start talking this kind of money, he's not turning this down. I know a lot of people are going to look at, well, it's 14 years. He could have got more. But you got to realize he is not a free agent. He had several years of control left. And this has been in the works a long time. But here's the thing I look at, Lauren. I look at the fact that the Padres knew what they had, and they identified it early. And so if you can get a 22-year-old stud like this and lock him up for basically the rest of his career, you make that move. And they were able to come to a number to get it done. If they wait 5 years, 4 years from now, he's going to cost them this money anyway. So they identified it and said, let's go get it done. The other thing I'll throw back at you on this is a lot of people are talking about, where are the Padres getting all this money? You think about it, Eric Hosmer, Manny Machado, and now you get Tatis, not to mention the other trades and moves that they've made to bring people on. And I looked at it this way. When the San Diego Chargers left to become the Los Angeles Chargers, what was left in town for the big money? The Padres. They're the biggest pro sport and only pro team in that area. So that allows them to really capitalize financially. And we're starting to see them reap the benefits of that.
I mean, obviously, aside from the San Diego State Aztecs, of course, but you're absolutely right. They are the biggest draw in town. When you look at this club as a whole, he did still have 4 years of team control. What message is A.J. Preller and the rest of that front office staff sending to not only the rest of the NL West, because we know what Dave Roberts had to say on Wednesday at spring training, that he's not really concerned about the Padres, but to the rest of Major League Baseball?
Well, the message is we're here for the long haul. You know, they didn't just make moves for 1 or 2 years. Remember, AJ's been down this road before when he had Upton, Matt Kemp, all those guys when he first took over. And within 6 months, they disbanded that whole group and started over with young guys. Now they're where they're at, and they're adding, and they're continuing to add. I mean, you look at that pitching staff with Blake Snell. Clevenger's going to come back in a year. You know, so they're looking at this thing long term. They got the second best farm system in all of baseball. And they've done it right. And so once you get to that point when you can put a little gasoline on the fire, that's what you do. They know that they're going to have to be up against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are not going away. They're going to be there too. They're built for the long haul, and the Padres are doing the same thing. So we're going to see this battle for years and years to come. But the Padres are looking at this long term.
Yeah, HR, I think that's a battle we're all looking forward to. We love a good rivalry, especially a good in-state rivalry. Now, you spent a fair amount of time in Major League Baseball, but you're still connected now, even though that you're with MLB Network, to the kids. If you're 22 years old, hanging out on a Wednesday evening, and you just found out that you're about to be $340 million richer, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. You know, but the funny thing is, Lauren, you know, we're seeing these $300 million contracts or $100 million contracts. They didn't go from 0 to $340 million. He was already making pretty good money anyway. So the beauty of what these guys have been able to do is they're pretty much set. They bought their homes, they've taken care of their parents, and now this is just generational money on top of it. And so what's he doing today? He's just sitting back, relaxing, getting ready for spring training. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But think about this. They got over $500 million on one side of the infield, and they throw the ball across the diamond to another guy who's making over 100 and some million. So that's pretty rich company.
Yeah, especially for a mid-market team. HR, we'll let you get back to your dinner. I don't know if it's meatloaf or what you have in store there in the Reynolds household. I don't know. Mom, meatloaf. We're hoping for that.
No,
Whatever it is.
steak.
Okay, the steak. And maybe that's what Fernando Tatis
Filet
Jr. will
mignon,
get to.
because Tatis is buying. No.
HR, we appreciate your time. All right, for more on this story, let's bring in our own Ken Rosenthal, leading the league here in information. Ken, we appreciate your time here on this Wednesday evening. Obviously, big news out of the Padres organization. What more can you tell us?
Lauren, the numbers speak for themselves. 14 years, $340 million. The Padres now have two of the biggest contracts in Major League history at one time. In fact, on one left side of the infield. That would be Tatis and Machado. And people are asking, I'm sure, why are they doing all this? Why are they spending like this, spending seemingly beyond their revenues? Their thought is that in their 52-year history, they've made the postseason in back-to-back seasons only once. 2005 and 6, they went to 2 division series against the Cardinals and won 1 game. What they're trying to do is build momentum. And their idea is if we spend money, we're going to make money. Make money in ticket sales, in sponsorships, in development around the ballpark, perhaps all of these things. So that's where their mentality is. That said, it's an astonishing amount of commitments that they have right now on the books through the next, I don't know, 10, 14 years. And certainly for Tatis, this is a landmark deal. I think Harold talked about this. Kid's 22 years old, just turned 22. He's going to be signed through his age 35 season. His entire career will be with the Padres. He's got a full no trade. And for him, it just gives him incredible security. It's an amazing deal for a player with 143 games of Major League service. No player would turn this down, even with the possibility of free agent riches at 26, which is what he was headed for. So for the Padres, certainly there are going to be questions going forward. For Tatis, lots of good answers.
Yeah, a lot of great answers for the 22-year-old. Speaking of which, in your opinion, Ken, and I know he's young and we haven't seen a lot from him at the major league level, what's his ceiling, in your opinion?
He's a superstar, Lauren. There's no question about it. Baseball's LeBron James, perhaps. He could be that. He has that kind of winning personality. Of course, he has to win championships like LeBron to be a LeBron, but I'm talking about athletic ability and transcendence and all the star quality that LeBron brings to the NBA. Could Tatis be that in the sport of baseball? Yes, he could. And that electricity that he brings, it's unique. It's something that Mike Trout, for all his greatness, and Mike Trout is the greatest player of this generation, he doesn't have that same electricity. It's just not the style of play. So this is a kid that obviously has a world of talent and a world of potential in front of him. I don't expect him to ever relent. He's a hard worker. He does all the right things. So he's special, and that's why he commanded this deal with such little experience and at such a young age.
Yeah, electric and special. I think those are the perfect adjectives for the 22-year-old. Ken, we really appreciate your time spending it with us. I know you will be spending a lot of your energy and efforts breaking this news further as it continues to unfold. Thank you.